Hello.
Hello, is that Will? Hello.
Hello.
Hello, is that Will Kevans?
It is. Lee, how you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad at all.
Good. Got over all the car problems, I hope.
Yes, I've scrapped the old beast now. I've managed to trade it in for a new snazzy little Fiat, so I'm quite happy about that.
At least you're mobile, that's the most important.
Indeed.
Now, Will, you were born in Birmingham,
That's right, yeah.
Germany. I can hear the twang in their voice now. Whereabouts in Birmingham were you?
Well, it's Solihull I was brought up in, but I only lived there till I was about 3. So the fact that I've got any kind of Birmingham twang at all is nothing short of a miracle.
Now you moved, grew up in Germany on military bases, and then moved to Llannon in West Wales.
In West Wales, yes.
What was it like growing up in Wales at that time?
It was great. I mean, it was nice by the sea, on a farm. You know, we lived in a bit of a bubble, really. As kids, you know, we had quite an idyllic upbringing. It was pretty. It was nice. It was pleasant. Sort of being brought up on a farm.
Now, I guess that you were born into a military family because you then actually did a stint in the army yourself.
I did, yes. I was in for about 3 years. I didn't sort of replicate my father's meteoric rise to success in the army. I had a brief, fairly ambiguous time in the infantry. So it was fun. But I think I've always been a bit of an artist. I was a bit of a rebel as well. So I got myself into a bit of trouble in the army.
Now you then moved into acoustic music scene, and you played at venues such as Ronnie Scott's, Water Rats, and the Borderline.
Yeah, that's right. I sort of hit the acoustic circuit in London when a lot of these acoustic bands have started to come out, and sort of really immersing myself in that acoustic circuit. It was a really good time to be getting into it, and I've really stuck to that through my career. Really just singing songs for people, you know, normal people, and sort of writing songs about my experiences and stuff.
But you're also a bit of a trumpet player as well.
Oh, blimey.
I know stuff.
Not the greatest trumpet player in the world, it has to be said. Not the greatest trumpet player. I have a strange relationship with the trumpet because it involves practicing, and I just never seem to get the time in to do the practicing. It's one of those things. I mean, I do enjoy playing, and I'd like to sort of. It'd be good on stage if I could just suddenly start playing a bit of a solo. But I occasionally have sort of bouts of practicing for a month, and then I leave it, and then it's difficult to go back to it each time. I'll stick to the guitar. I'm better at that.
Now you in 2008 you won an international songwriting competition with the song Out There.
That's true.
Then got involved in providing music for computer games.
Yes, that was complete happenstance because I'm also an animator and cartoonist. I ended up working on this Scooby-Doo game for kids, and the producer there at the time had seen me play a few gigs and knew that I was a musician, and he said, "Oh, you know, do you fancy, you know, submitting a few songs for the Scooby-Doo people and seeing if they'll go for putting it on the game?" And much to my amazement, they agreed. And I just started recording the album at the time, so we'd had a few of the album tracks. So I managed to get 2 tracks on there, which was Super Casanova, which obviously I rewrote because the lyrics in it are about teenage pregnancy. Didn't really seem appropriate for Scooby-Doo. So I ended up writing all these Scooby lyrics for it, and the other one was, what was the other one? I think it was Darling Tone was the other one that we got on there.
It must be interesting providing music for something like a computer game, 'cause I mean, is it a bit like writing music for film?
Not so much really, because what kind of music would go with the particular scenes within the computer game, and basically just used the existing music that I had. Funnily enough, I'm actually trying to get into writing some film music now because I'm working with a film writer for my next album. I'm going to be sort of collaborating with him. So I'm quite interested in seeing how that works out. I'm also going to be working with an Indian artist called Raghu Dixit, and he's quite big in India. He's an Indian folk artist, so I'm going to get together and collaborate with him fairly soon, and he does a lot of stuff for Bollywood, so there's quite a possibility that I could end up writing some Bollywood music, which would be really interesting to get a Western perspective on that.
Now you also you played in at CMJ in New York last year, and you were spotted by a representative of Wildflower Records.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, there's a lady who came down from the label. My manager at the time had put me in contact with Wildflower Records as a possible label that would be interested in my music. And she came down to the gig that I was playing in New York, and it's one of those things, you do these festivals and you never think, who's going to spot me? Am I going to get picked up by a label? Is anybody going to be out there? You know, do these people turn up ever? And they do, and this is the thing. She came up to me straight after and said, I really like what you're doing. I want to offer you a deal here and now. And I was absolutely over the moon, because you play at a lot of these festivals, and people say they're going to be there, like the big labels say they're going to turn up, but they never do. And it's very refreshing when somebody actually does turn up and something really positive comes out of it, which is great, because it means that now I will have a release in the United States with my album. So very pleased about that.
This is the album Everything You Do?
The album is Everything You Do, yes. I think they've got an option to license that into the US, and then they will obviously do all the promotion and all of the radio over in the States.
And you've got some fabulous people on the album. Slide guitarist Al Perkins, beautiful South songstress Alison Wheeler, as well as Paul Beard on guitar, and from Steely Dan and Doobie Brothers, Elliot Randall.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm a bit of a blagger, I think. What it is, I meet people. I just meet people, and with Elliot Randall, it was a bit random, really, because a friend of mine is an American guy from Virginia, and he started making custom-made guitars. And he said, if you start making these custom-made guitars, and I've got, Jeff Beck's going to play one, Eric Clapton's going to play one, I've got this guy from Steely Dan called Elliot Randall, and he's going to play one and endorse it. And I thought, it'd be great, if I could have like a name guitarist on one of the songs, because it's always a good thing to have, these people that you admire get involved in what you're doing. So I said, well, I don't think I'm going to get Eric Clapton or Jeff Beck, and I'll see if we can get in contact with Elliot, see what he says. And we hit it off straight away. He was great, and I met up with him, and we went through a few songs, and he said, I really like that one, and I can do some guitaring on that. And that's what he did, and he was great. He even did a few gigs with me. He did a couple of showcase gigs with me where he turned up. So with Al Perkins, that was a different situation. I knew he was playing with a band called Kevin Montgomery's band, and I knew that Al was going to be there. So I went to the gig with a specific intent to go up to Al Perkins and ask him if he'd play for me. Not for a minute thinking that he would agree to it, but he played at the Borderline in London. And after the gig, I went up to him and I said, Al, I thought you were amazing, brilliant. I said, you wouldn't by any chance fancy playing on my album, would you? And he goes, yeah, sure, man, I'll do it. And that was it. And then we did it remotely. So basically, he recorded the slide stuff in a studio called 16 Ton Studios in Nashville, which was run by a guy called Danny White. Danny White was Dylan's bass player for a number of years, so there's quite a lot of sort of synergy there. So yeah, and that was that really. With Alison, she was recommended, Alison Wheeler from The Beautiful South, she was recommended by my producer Ian Grimble, and Ian Grimble had worked with The Beautiful South with production, and we just thought, well, it'd be great if we can have Alison to do most of the backing vocals on the album. Yeah. But the good thing that's come out of that now is that Alison is now asking me to write stuff for her for The Beautiful South, which is really good.
Oh, that's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all kind of swings and roundabouts, really, because I think you should make these little connections, and then eventually you've got to a different level. Once you've forged all these relationships with people, then you get a different kind of, it becomes your job, basically.